Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Dr. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, fine. I think we'll begin with a word of prayer and I'll pray. Almighty dear Heavenly Father, we come to you at this time of the day or the evening. We thank you for your daily mercies that are new every morning. We ask you to guide us in this fellowship. We ask you to guide us in this panel. Give us insight, give us wisdom. We worship you and we praise you, for it is Jesus' mighty name we do pray, we do believe. Amen.
Amen.
Good morning. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you're logging in from. We'll begin the meeting. It's a recorded meeting, so if someone is missing this meeting, there'll be a copy available for them on YouTube. And I'd like to find out whether Roseanne is around. Is Roseanne there? Oh, she's not. Okay, we'll begin. Our first panelist is Dr. Peter Ngige. He'll introduce himself and tell us a little bit more about the health industry. Karibu, Dr. Ngige.
Oh, thank you, sir. Welcome, everyone. My name is Dr. Gigi. I'm a pharmacist. I graduated from the University of Nairobi, and I'm proud to be a healthcare provider. Today, I don't know whether you want me to go directly or you want to give the other panelists to introduce themselves.
Okay, the other panelist is Faith Minor. Faith Minor, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you very much. I greet you all this afternoon. My name is Faith Minor. I'm based in New Jersey, and I am an insurance agent with the National Life Group.
Thank you, Faith. Thank you, Dr. Ngige. Is Roseanne Kamau there? Roseanne Kamau? Okay, that's fine. Dr. Ngige, you can proceed on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Again, good morning or good evening, everyone. Today, we are to discuss about diabetes, blood pressure, anxiety, and depression. But I'll tackle diabetes first, and then I'll yield to the other panelists. And if there is time, we can also cover the other diseases. So, what is diabetes? Diabetes is what you normally call high blood glucose levels or high blood sugar. And what is the cause? Or if somebody asks you, what is it? Medically, what diabetes is, it's a group of diseases, or it's a metabolic syndrome whereby the main problem is insulin. What is insulin? Insulin is a hormone, and it is produced by pancreas. This is an organ behind your stomach. And the main function of the insulin is to help your body to store or to utilize the sugar that is in your bloodstream. So more often there is a problem whereby your body cannot utilize the insulin, your pancreas is not producing enough insulin, or it is not producing insulin at all. And this is why we read to diabetes being categorized into 3 groups. The first one is what you call type 1 diabetes. Previously, it used to be called the juvenile diabetes. And normally it's associated with the name juvenile because normally it starts at childhood. This kind of diabetes happen because your body, because of an autoimmune disease. It's an autoimmune disease. And what that means is your immune system is supposed to protect you But in this case, your immune system attacks you. So you find that your body attacks the pancreas with the antibodies that are supposed to protect you, whereby you produce no insulin at all. So type 1 diabetic, there is no production of insulin at all, and it starts at early childhood, thereby the name used early, it used to be called juvenile diabetes early, or what you call insulin dependent. Then there is type 2 diabetes. This one starts mostly with at old age, but currently you find also the teenagers, people who are under 20 years old are having this type 2 diabetes, but mostly because of what we eat. So you find that our teenagers, our youth are having type 1 diabetic because they're being overweight or they're being obese. Type 2 diabetic is whereby, one, your body is producing insulin, yes, but it is not producing enough, or it is producing enough insulin, but your body is not able to utilize that insulin. There's also what you call gestational diabetes. This is diabetes that comes as a result of when the women get pregnant. So what happens is, some ladies, when they get pregnant, their body develop resistance to insulin. So when this happens, then you are diagnosed now what you call gestational diabetes, which after pregnancy, after a couple of months, it disappears. So those are the three types of diabetes. Is there a cure out there for diabetes? No, but there is treatment for diabetes. So that's more about the diabetic. Then how do you know that you have diabetic? It's very hard to know whether you have diabetic until you are diagnosed. But early on, there are these signs that when you go to the doctors, you're gonna be telling them, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that. And that's the time they will carry out all these tests, and maybe they will diagnose you with diabetes. But there are those signs that are really, really key, that say the key showing that you're having diabetic. One of them is you're getting hungry all the time. You're getting hungry, and you find that you're going to the bathroom or you're peeing so many times in a day. A normal person, you pee between 4 to 7 times in 24 hours. But in this case, you find that you're going to the bathroom so many times. You find that you're getting hungry so many times in a day. So that's a sign of that you're having problem with your metabolism. So why are you getting hungry so many times in a day, yet you're eating food? What happened is, when you eat, that sugar is in your body is converted to glucose. That glucose, then the insulin help the glucose to get into your cells. Now, in this case, you're having too much sugar in your bloodstream. It's not getting into your cells, so it's not getting utilized. So hence your body mechanism will say, hey, you're hungry. So you find that you're eating a lot even though your blood sugar is high. And then you find that the kidney, the reason why you're peeing so much, you find that the kidney work is to filter all the sugar and return it back to the bloodstream. But in this case, because there's too much of it, so it's not able to filter everything back. So you find that this excessive sugar that is being excreted through the urine, then you find that you're losing so much water, hence peeing a lot, and then feeling so thirsty. So that's the key, feeling that's why you get, that's why you're so thirsty, because you're peeing a lot, because the kidney, as it excrete all these extra sugars, then you're losing a lot of fluid. The other thing is you find that you have dry mouth, and your skin is so itchy. Why? When you lose a lot of fluid, you become so dehydrated that you become so dry in your mouth. Your body does not have enough water to moisturize your skin. So your skin is so dry, hence you become so itchy. The other sign that you're having diabetes is because you're losing a lot of fluid. Your eyes don't have, your eyes lens, the eye lens is unable to do what you call accommodation because there's less fluid in the eyes. So that's why you find that you're having a problem when you have diabetes. So when you have all these signs, and then you go to the doctor, they take out your blood. Maybe they tell you to come the next day and all that. That's how they diagnose you with diabetes and with all these signs and symptoms. So what happens when you are diagnosed with the diabetes? The first thing is diet. And I think our next panelist will come in. I don't want to touch on that topic because you talk about dieting. So the doctor would advise you more on dieting and maybe refer you to a nutritionist. Exercise. So diet and exercise even before they introduce you to the pharmacological intervention. So those are the keys. And then when you are diabetic, there are two things that you have really to know. One, you may end up with very low blood pressure. No, so very low sugar levels, sorry. That's what you call your hypoglycemia. Maybe because you're using too much medication, you're using too much insulin, or you're not eating well. So you're more likely to have hypoglycemia, or even maybe that you have taken too much of the medication and they bring your sugar too low. The other thing that you experience when you're diabetic is your sugar might be very high, either maybe because you ate too much sugar, or maybe you forgot to take your medication. So it's very, very important as a diabetic person to know and differentiate the two. When am I hyperglycemic? When am I hypoglycemic? And these are kind of the 911 of that disease. You really have to know your disease. And these are two important things. And I know most of you have heard either on the TV or read on the newspaper that somebody caused an accident. And when they do their investigation, it's because this person had a medical issue. So as a diabetic person, these are the things that you need to know when you're hypo, because it can cause you or it can lead you to have an accident. And I'm gonna mention some of the signs that are unique when you're hypoglycemic. And one of them is you become very shaky. You are shaking, your body is shaking all over because you don't have enough energy. You're nervous, you're anxious, you're sweating a lot, you're confused. See, you're confused. That means if you're driving at a high speed and you get confused, you never know when you're changing lanes, you're going to somebody's lane. That's how you cause the accident. So when you start having all these kind of feelings when you're driving or doing anything mechanical, you stop. The other thing that is unique also with you when you're hyperglycemia is you're heavily thirsty. As I told you, when you're hyperglycemia, you're peeing a lot. So you're thirsty, that feeling. You have a blurred vision, you have a problem with that. So you can't see when you're on the road, when you're operating the machineries, you can't see well. So you're gonna lead to an accident. The other one is your feet. Your feet start having that feeling like you have pins under. That's what you call tingling, or you're numb. You cannot do anything. And when you're hyperglycemic too, you also feel very, 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 very tired because your body is not processing the sugar as it's supposed to. What are the complications of having this disease, diabetic, there are a lot. And most of these complications comes because your sugar levels have been up for a very long time. And what happens is when your sugar is there for a long time, a long period of time, your sugar is always very high. So that's what it causes the damage. Most of the damage comes when your sugar levels are very high. And one of the organs that is damaged by elevated sugar is your kidney. You have what you call nephropathy that may lead to dialysis. So some people who maybe are going for dialysis, if you ask them when they started going for dialysis, they will tell you, when I became diagnosed with diabetic, it led me going through dialysis. And I'll give you an example that we all encounter every day. Most of us, they make tea in the morning. So what happens? You have the sleeve because you want to filter all the excessive tea. And that's the work of the kidney. The kidney work is to filter all these metabolic byproducts. So what happens is when your sugar levels is very high and for a prolonged period of time, the reason why I keep insisting a prolonged period of time, because even a normal person who doesn't have a diabetic, after you eat, the first 2 hours, your sugar is very high, but your body is able to bring it down. The problem is when you have elevated sugar for a very long time. So what happens is your kidney is challenged by this too much sugar, every time filtering it. Believe me that every time you're using that sleeve to filter that tea in the morning, after about 6 months, it starts leaking and you throw it away. You cannot throw away your kidney. So what happens is, after a long period of filtering this excessive sugar, that's how the diabetic destroys your kidney. Now you start having dialysis. And that's why it's very, very important to control your sugar levels, because if you don't, with time, 2, 5, 10 years down the line, you're going to have another disease of kidney problems. The other problem is nephropathy. You talk to people who have diabetic and they tell you when they are walking, they are like walking on top of pins. Why? Because what elevated sugar does is it destroys your nerves. Nervous system is the electrical system on your body, like the cars have the electrical system. Your house, you have electricity, you have the electrical system. So most of the us who have seen wires, I believe everybody have seen a wire, to prevent the short circuiting, a wire is coated by something, let's say a plastic. I don't know what you call those PCVs thing. Why? To avoid the short circuit. That's how our nervous system is. Our nervous system is coated by something we call marine sheath. So what happened is this coating of the nervous system is eaten away by too much sugar. And that's why your nerves are destroyed. That's why you have this tingling or these kind of pains feeling under your feet when you're walking. So too much sugar destroys your nerves. The other problem is too much sugar in your body destroys your heart. It destroys the integrity of your blood vessels. So when you're having diabetic, more likely you end up with heart disease. The other complication from diabetic is peripheral blood supply. You find that peripherally, that is the end of your fingers, the feet, the toes, the blood supply is not getting there. So what happened is when your blood supply and the peripheral is very poor, the saturation there is very poor. So that means the nutrients and the oxygen getting there is poorly done. And that's why you find that most people, when they have diabetes, they are recommended don't cut your nails. Have a doctor who is specialized in cutting those nails do it. Why? Because if you hurt yourself when you're trying to cut those nails, you find that it takes months, it takes weeks for that wound to heal. Why? Because the blood supply to that region is compromised by your diabetes. The other one is what you call retinopathy. When you have a problem with very high blood sugar, diabetes, it destroys the optic nerve. And when it destroys the optic nerve, when it destroys that retina, you can't see. And that's why diabetes is kind of number 2 cause of blindness. And I also forgot to say that because of that problem with peripheral blood supply, you find that diabetes is also high up there as the main cause of amputation. You find that there's so many people whose legs have been amputated, and the main reason being that because of diabetes, their blood supply to these areas is compromised. Hence, they start having gangrene, and that's why you find that the doctor end up cutting their feet or their toes. You find that somebody have been cut their toe because of diabetic. That's the main cause. How do you treat the diabetic? Again, Rosalind will talk about it. Diet and exercise. That's the first thing. Diet and exercise. Diet and exercise will bring those sugars down. Other than that, there is insulin, and there are pills that help you, with making the insulin. We also have other pills that help your body to get all that extra sugar in your bloodstream and store it in form of glycogen. I think I'll stop there and eat to the next panelist, unless maybe, I don't know whether you want me to take questions now or later.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Ngige. Dr. Ngige is a graduate, the degree of Pharmacy, University of Nairobi. Wonderful presentations. If you have any questions on diabetes, diet and exercise, feel free to use the tool down below, or you have a minute or two to ask your question. If no questions, we'll jump right into our next panelist, Roseanne Kamau. Roseanne, are you there? Brief introduction or long introduction. You can unmute yourself.
Sorry. Yes, I'm here. I'm here. So thank you so much, Sam, for having me. I'm so happy to hear Dr. Ngige. So nice to see you after so many years. Yes, and he's so right in talking about diabetes. And the first thing we would need to work on will be our nutrition. But before I jump into that, I want to introduce myself. I'm Roseanne Kamau. I'm a nutrition, fitness, and a wellness coach. And I've been helping women, specifically women, lose fat without dieting so that they can live a healthy lifestyle. And my background has really been, it's actually in psychology, but at some point, actually, when I lived in Boston, for those of you that do not know, I used to live in Boston. My husband and I, we lived in Boston for over 20 years before we moved back to Kenya in 2015. Even though right now I'm in Texas. But when our oldest daughter is about 17, so it was around 16, 17 years ago, I actually went to the doctor for a regular checkup, just like we all do, go for regular checkups. Now, when I went to see the doctor for a regular checkup, a couple of things he said. Number one, when I got a call back, he says, Roseanne, two things. One, you are medically obese because I had gained weight, I was overweight. Then the second thing he said was, your cholesterol numbers are headed in the wrong direction. And for me, that was my wake-up call. That is what got me not only to become healthy for myself, to lose weight, but if you guys remember, I actually started coaching women in Boston, in Lowell, and I started out at the park. And this was like after 2 years of me just becoming better, becoming healthier. But before I went back to work, back to my regular job, I told my husband, I kind of don't want to do the same old thing. And he was like, all you do is talk about nutrition and fitness and whatnot. Why not try and see if by coaching a couple of women, whether that's something you'd love. And I literally started coaching my two sisters. By the end of that time, I had like 28 women. The Women of Hope were actually one of the group that came over and I coached. And at the end of that session, something interesting happened. 4 women came back to me and they said their doctors are so happy with what they're doing that they started getting their insulin low. And one of them was on diabetes. Their blood pressure started coming down. And that was the catalyst for me that determined that I needed to go back to school. So I became a certified nutrition coach, and I started working and helping women lose weight. And that's what I've been doing for over the last 10 years. And so really what my passion is, and what I want everyone to know is, yes, there's the medication, but any lifestyle disease has a lifestyle solution to it. Follow what your doctors say. Follow what everybody, the prescriptions they're giving you. But it's important to begin to look at your lifestyle, look at what you're actually doing, because if you have a lifestyle disease, it means it's been brought on by the lifestyle choices that we're making. You know, for me, I had high cholesterol. What I've consequently learned is in my family history, we do have a history of high cholesterol. And what happened was, even though that was passed down to me, it's really the habits that I carried on. And so when we recognize the habits that we are putting in, the foods that we're eating, when we recognize that when we don't move our bodies, when we recognize that the things that we're eating, and we have good food, like our Kenyan foods, great foods. If we do not recognize that that's what causing those issues, we could miss the mark. And I do apologize. There's a little bit of a child over there in the background. So that's what I want us to talk about. How do we work on losing weight? Because that would be the first thing, the first necessary step to ensuring that we're becoming healthy. When we have an ideal body composition, BMI is ideal. I also don't like to look so much at BMI, but just considering specifically that mid-belly area. And the reason for that is not even for aesthetics. It's not about how we look. But when you think about that mid-belly, that's where we carry visceral fat, right? So our bodies have two types of fat. We have visceral fat and subcutaneous fat. That visceral fat is the dangerous fat, and it's the one that we carry in our midsection. And when the more we have of that, if we do not take care of that, that's what could predispose us to the lifestyle diseases that we're talking about: diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. And so when we're talking about losing weight, we're really talking about ensuring that we're losing fat all over. And the interesting thing is, even our body does not like that extra visceral fat. So when you start to lose weight, because everyone's like, oh, my belly doesn't go, it doesn't disappear. We're all looking at that, but I'm saying it's going to go. It will disappear as long as you keep at it and you're eating well. And so what are some of the tangible things that we would need to do? So number one, it's recognizing that it has to be a lifestyle. Recognizing that whatever it is that you do has to be something that is sustainable. So we're not talking about dieting. We're not talking about doing something for a couple of weeks, a couple of days, and then that's it. It has to be a complete shift, a mental shift, where you decide, this is the way I am going to live my life. That's the first thing that we want to do. And then the second thing that we want to do is focus on our nutrition. Focus on our nutrition. The interesting thing is, studies actually show that even people who have gotten a heart attack, when they've gotten a heart attack, they're supposed to go back and change their lifestyle. It's only like about 14% of people who change their lifestyle. So you've really got to understand, why do I want to do this? So I always like to focus a lot on the mind piece, because that mind piece is what will catapult you to get forward and to keep you going. So it's not just about looking good, because that can only take you so far. But when you connect that to something deeper, you're going to be able to find yourself being able to lose that weight and keep it off sustainably. So we focus on the mind, we focus on our nutrition. And now when it comes to your nutrition, let me tell you, it's actually quite simple. It's really quite simple. The thing is this: you want to avoid all processed foods. I say sugar is the enemy. I have a program I teach my clients. It's called Hey Sugar. And what I teach inside Hey Sugar is just showing folks where sugars are hidden, because manufacturers know how to hide everything inside of all the healthiest foods. One of my clients literally sent something to me. They're like, in the group, she's like, can you believe mushrooms, soup, it's canned mushroom. Like, there's sugar in here. There's hidden sugar in here. So it's recognizing that sugars are the enemy, recognizing processed foods are the enemy of progress, recognizing that those foods are going to hijack our palate, they're going to hijack our brain chemistry, they're going to hijack our gut health, and we're going to find ourselves craving and eating more of those foods. And so shifting and resetting the gut is necessary. And that therefore means we are looking at eating more whole foods. When you're talking about whole foods, I want us to think about the foods we ate when our grandparents were younger. I want us to think about the foods that we used to, you know how, like us when growing up, it was we're eating githeri, we were eating the ugali, we're eating, you know, Dorokos, tereres, and we're like, we don't like this food. I kind of want to eat sausages and whatnot. No. Those are the foods that are affecting us. The sausages, the bacons, the sugars. That's what's affecting us. So we need to go back to eating our own traditional foods. That means when you go to the supermarket, I'm not saying we eat all salads, but we need to eat a lot more vegetables. Our gut needs those vegetables, right? It needs them for digestion. We need to eat more beans. We need to eat more legumes. These are the things I did to help me reduce my weight and to completely eliminate my cholesterol, which hasn't been high since. It has never been high since. I eat eggs and I eat whole eggs, you know, because that in itself is another myth. I eat meat, I eat chicken. So you're eating foods, but you're eating more foods from the garden. You're eating a variety of fruits. The more we do that, and then you're doing it consistently, you're going to notice your body is going to your body composition will just adjust itself. And then the other thing when it comes to your nutrition, I'm very anti-diet. I'm very anti-meal plan. I'm very anti-counting calories. I'm very about measuring foods because I feel what that does is really puts us in boxes and it hijacks even this whole element of just enjoying food with family. I also say it's important to have a piece of cake every so often, you know, because it's not about this all or nothing where you cannot have a little bit of cake. If you like a little bit of wine, you can have some of that wine, right? So we talk about balance, and that's what I teach. I teach this lifestyle, a sustainable way of living the lifestyle. And when you do this, you're going to notice you'll be healthy. And then finally, it's about movement. It's about movement. And when we're talking about movement, we're talking about doing something that you enjoy. So we're not necessarily talking about, you know how a lot of people are thinking, oh, I gotta go to the gym. I gotta go to the gym and lift weights. I say no. We don't want you thinking about the gym. I don't want you thinking about I don't want you thinking about, oh, the gym is the place that I want to go. That's not what I want us to do. I want us to think about what are some of the things I need to do that will help me improve my movement, move my body. So if it's walking, if it's dancing, if it's hiking, you know, the thing is, unfortunately, for most of us in the States, it's difficult, especially winter months. But in the summer and spring months, seriously, get out and walk when you come from school, but you got to make it a priority, because if it's not a priority, it becomes harder for us to make it a lifestyle. So moving your body is so important, because even like Dr. Ngige has said, diabetes is actually one of those that they actually say there's a direct correlation with actually blood sugar improvement by adding exercise. So it's important to add that exercise because it has been shown to help with that insulin resistance. So it's important to add that movement in. And I always say movement. I actually never say exercise, because I recognize each one of us, something different will speak to us. Some people will, you know, Dr. Ngige, I've seen him doing Taekwondo. That's his thing. That's his form of movement. Me personally, I like to lift weights. Somebody else likes to run. Another person likes to walk and hike. I've seen, actually, Sam, I've seen you doing hikes, you know, so everyone loves something different. So it's recognizing those are the things I enjoy and I'm going to incorporate as part of my lifestyle. And if I just may say this one last thing, the reason why this is so important, our body is the only area we're gonna live in. And everybody always says, oh, but you know what? You know, God has given me all this, the number of my days he will fulfill. And I say, yes, he's going to fulfill them. But we can cut our lives short by the choices that we make. We really can. And so we really never know the potential our body has unless we do everything in our power to take care of this vessel that God has given us. And so if you have any questions, I am open to you to ask any questions that you may have on how to lose weight without dieting, how to lose weight and keep it off sustainably. If you need any help, you can certainly reach out to me, because I'm so passionate to help people live the very best, their healthiest lives, because I know what's there and I know what's possible for them. And Sam, I want to thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of this, and I appreciate this so, so much.
Roseanne, wonderful presentation. I've actually been watching you over the years. You've remained consistent, and that message hits home. And it's kind of like a holistic message. You're not just exercising for fun or for hiking, but it ends up helping your blood pressure, blood sugars, and also how you think, depression and other things. So wonderful presentation. If you can share with us your social media, how can someone reach you? Are you on Facebook? Are you on Instagram? And then I have one question. Then I'll open one or two questions from the members. My question is,
yes,
and I believe all the other members, probably it's affecting you. And also Dr. Gige can chip in.
Yeah.
Belly fat. How do you lose it?
How do you lose belly fat? Yo, let me tell you, even when I was in Boston, when I was in Lowell, everybody who used to come to the gym, that's what they used to ask me, Roseanne, how do I lose belly fat? And this is the answer I'm going to give you. There's no such thing as sport training, meaning I only want to lose my belly fat. What you're going to have to do is you're going to have to lose weight overall. And then where you've held the most weight, your body is actually going to release that. So you're going to have to lose weight everywhere. And the way to lose weight, 80 to 90% is your nutrition. It's not even exercise. Exercise is 10 to 20% of how our body looks. So you've got to focus on your nutrition, and you've got to focus on making sure your meals are balanced. Do I have carbohydrates in my plate? Do I have proteins in there? Do I have my fats? You got to make sure those meals are represented in our meals. So it's eating a balanced diet and staying consistent. So you're not only doing it for a couple of minutes, for a couple of, for a couple of weeks. It has to be a new way. You've got to think differently. And so to lose fat, you can lose fat, and it's possible to lose fat, but you've got to be on the journey long term. So no sports training for fat loss, lose weight all over. And I say, if you incorporate movement, it helps, but you don't need that. If you change your nutrition, you're going to lose weight. So it's losing weight overall. And then the next question, you said my social media handle. I am actually mostly active on Instagram. So Instagram, I am at Coach Roseanne. Instagram is mostly where I hang out mostly. I used to do Facebook a lot more when I was in Boston, but when I moved to Kenya, I found myself hanging out more on Instagram. So on Facebook, there's a free page I have. It's called Fat Loss with Coach Roseanne. Fat Loss with Coach Roseanne on Instagram, or Treasure Fitness on Facebook. That's how you can get a hold of me.
Thank you very much.
I can make a comment. I want to make or add on something about the relationship between diabetes and belly fat. In the medical field now, we have a new name that came like about 2 years ago or 3 years ago, called diabetes. What that term means is a direct correlation between diabetic and being obese. And that's what we call diabetes. And what happened is the belly fat, what it does is it increases your resistance to insulin. That means your body cannot process that extra glucose in your blood. So that's the direct correlation between belly fat and diabetes.
Very good points, both of you. My other question is, using honey to replace sugar, is it helpful? Is it any better? Oh, we can't hear you. Am I muted? Can you hear me? We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Perfect. Yeah, thanks.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry. I'm not sure what happened. Honey, yes, honey. Honey is actually great, and I recommend honey as a form of sugar replacement because honey has microbial properties in it. Honey is natural; it comes from bees. So honey, maple syrup are great, and also green leaf tea, stevia are great. Usually, I personally use honey for baking. If I drink tea, I'm literally drinking tea right now. I personally don't like sugar in tea from when I was young. But when I'm baking, like we bake with honey, that would be a great sugar replacement. Yes. So honey, maple syrups, green leaf stevia is what I would recommend.
And of course, moving away from 3%, 2% to 1% milk, right?
Nope, whole milk.
Whole milk, okay.
Whole milk, why? This in itself is a whole different thing. Now, when you think about low fat, whole low fat movement, the whole low fat movement came about as a result of the fight between the fat industry and the sugar industry. Yeah. So there was this fight going on where the fat industry was saying, oh, people are getting fatter because they're taking too much sugar. The sugar industry was like, no, it's because people are taking a lot of fat. Now, interestingly, what happened? Two professors were hired, two doctors were actually paid, this was in the 50s, were paid, I believe it was about around 5,000 bob, or 55,000 bob, to write an article that showed up in the New England Medical Journal. Anything that shows up in the New England Medical Journal is like medical truth because there's a lot of research that has been done, there's a lot of peer review that's been done. And so these doctors, what they did is they wrote an article that said, fat is the problem. And so we need to eliminate fats from food and we need to add sugar. So what ended up happening was a lot of these foods were stripped of fat. The sugar industry basically won. And so whole things like milk, they started eliminating fats that appeared naturally. They started telling people, no, you can't eat eggs, you can't eat avocados, you can't eat fats because fats are gonna make you fat. So you can even hear the word play in fat with being fat. So that was the first thing that they did. The second thing that happened was they started stripping off all sugars, they started stripping fat from things like milk, from things like yogurt, and fat that comes in even the processed foods, but it tasted horrible. So they had to add sugars to the foods. Now, what ended up happening, people continued to become sicker. People continued to become more obese. That never changed. But over time, what they've actually realized is sugar is the problem. And the sugar industry is so powerful because if you look at even ingredients and how they write them, you do not know how much sugar is in an ingredient. Even the way they label them, they make it so difficult such that even just a regular person going to read those labels, it's like, oh, they're looking at sugar, oh, they're like, oh, 2% sugar. What do you know what 2% is? But when you really dig deeper, it's like that thing has a lot of sugar in it. So, and then what they've also done is because people are becoming educated, they're coming up with all these different names of sugar. And so they're hiding. And then what that happens is what I talked about in the beginning. They're hijacking our brain cells, hijacking our palate. And what's happening is we're wondering, why am I not being able to lose weight? Why am I not being able to lose that visceral fat? Because of all these sugars. So we want to focus more on whole foods. So you're focusing on whole milk. You're focusing on whole yogurt. And when you eat more fat, you're actually going to notice you're gonna feel fuller longer than when you eat things that are low fat. So it's not about the calories. I'm always saying, find them at a long term, but it's about the nutritional quality of the food that you're eating and you're putting in your body. So it's about whole milk, Sam. Don't be going low fat on me now.
Great points, great points. Feel free to use the toolbox, the chat toolbox right below for any questions. We'll move over to our next guest, Jasmine. She also works in the healthcare field. Jasmine, are you there? Jasmine, are you there? Okay, before we get Jasmine.
Hi.
Okay.
Hi, Sam. Hello. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
So Sam invited me on your Zoom call today to talk a little bit about Mary Kay. I'm just starting my business, and I sent Sam a flyer. We're having a event tomorrow around 4 o'clock for a virtual skincare session. And I'd like to open the invitation to all of you so you guys can learn more about the Mary Kay products if you don't already know, not only about the products, but as well as the business. So Sam, if you could forward everyone the flyer that I sent you.
Yes, let me see.
I don't know if you have an option to add that into the chat or.
Let me see.
If I had more time, I would send out samples for you guys to kind of sample the products, but it's kind of short notice. So
Okay, let me see.
Sam graciously invited me to your Zoom to let you guys know about the event on, sorry, Sunday. I think I said Sunday, not Saturday, Sunday at 4.
That one?
Yes, yep.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions? Have you guys heard of Mary Kay before? I'm sure. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm new to. Can't see. I don't think I can see the chat.
Okay, let me go back. Stop, okay. Let me see. There's a typo. I think someone has a question. So Jasmine, are you done, or that's it, right? I'll share the flyer. Jasmine, are you there?
Sorry, I keep muting. Yeah, so it looks like Dominique has a question. Dominique, do you have a question for? Sorry, can you hear me?
Jasmine, I can hear you, but the question was not going towards you. I was going to ask the rest of the panelists, Mr. Dr. Gige and also Roseanne. Thank you.
Okay.
So Jasmine, I'll share the flyer, and if there's anything else you want to add, that's fine. But she also does like small women meetings, and she does the facials, correct?
Yes, I do. In-person skincare sessions. If anyone's as well interested in doing, their own personalized skincare session and inviting their own people, but I'm just kind of opening my business. I've been doing this ongoing for about maybe 10 years or so. So I'm kind of opening up again and kind of getting back into it. So if anyone's interested in doing their own private session and inviting their own people, just let me know, or let Sam know. He can forward the message to me.
Appreciate. I think also looking good is important as a healthcare provider. She works in the healthcare field, and she's doing something on the side. I believe that's very important to not only just stick to your own profession, but also have a gig that you're doing on the side. I'll share the flyer, and if you need our contacts, I'll be glad to share them with you. Dominic, ask your question, and then we move over to Faith Minor.
Thank you, Sam. My question goes, by the way, I would like to say hi to the panelists. And I just want to let them know that this discussion is very, very, very important. And I think it's touching pretty much everyone. I'm surprised that we don't have so many questions, but my question goes to Dr. Gige. On hypoglycemia and hyperglycemia. I'm a healthcare professional myself, but I still wonder myself, is it possible that people who are diabetic crave for more sugar, even though sugar is ruining them? Dr. Ngige.
Yes. And I had explained the reason why you feel hungry, you want to eat more, you want to eat, is because when you're diabetic, we say because of the insulin hormone is having a problem, and the problem is either your body is not producing enough insulin, you're producing enough insulin, but your body is not able to utilize it. And the main function of the insulin is to help your body cell move that sugar from the bloodstream into it so that you can produce, the body can produce energy, and do other things that the body needs for energy production. So what happens is when you're hyper or when you're hypo, let me concentrate on when you're hyper. You have enough sugar, but that sugar is in the bloodstream. So your cells are not getting anything because the insulin that's supposed to attach itself onto the receptor that's on the cell to draw that sugar in is compromised. That process is compromised. So your body has a means of saying, hey, I'm hungry. So in your brain, it will register that you are hungry. So you're gonna crave for more sugar to eat more, yet your sugar is still high up there. That's the correlation, that your body is registering, I don't have enough, yet you have enough. So you can continue to crave for more and more and more. And if I touch a little bit on craving with processed food, in this case, let me touch on white stuff versus brown. If you eat a lot of white stuff, white bread, white rice, anything related to white, you're gonna end up craving for more. Why? Because when you eat white bread or white sugar, or even we talked of sugar, if you let's say you're using the white sugar instead of the brown, your sugar immediately goes up and then it goes down immediately. So it's that curve of going up and down, then your body will be craving for more. But if you eat something brown, your sugar doesn't go all the way up. It is what you call sustained level. And that's why we say that brown food, or the brown food, let me call it that way, it has what we call raw hypoglycemic index. Other than eating something that is white, that have a very high glycemic index. And that's why that craving comes in. So that's why you find that if you eat a plate of white rice at 5 or 6, by 9, you want to eat more. Your body is craving for more sugar. That's what it is. It went up and down.
Dr. Gige, one more question is, okay, now this is eating. You know, most of these patients are craving to eating food. Now, I'm asking about some patients who actually like to eat sugar itself, the processed sugar, like the white sugar. Is it possible they get addicted to that? Like they want that sweet stuff?
No, it is your body saying, I need more. So if I have a patient who is always want to eat something sugary, one, I'll monitor their blood sugar to make sure if I'm a care provider, I'm taking care of this patient. So I'll make sure that I'm monitoring their sugar well. Probably they are hyper all the time. Their diabetes is uncontrolled. And if they continue to crave for more sugar, I'll introduce them to people like Roseanne, the nutritionist, and find out what's the problem.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much for answering my question. Also, I wanted to say hello to Roseanne. I was her student about how many years ago, Roseanne?
10 years ago.
10 years ago.
9 years ago. You really were.
I need a refresher course right now.
Let's do it. Let's do it. But if I may also chime in, I just want to throw up, just chiming into what Dr. Ngiga has said, because he's really right. I sort of want to come in from the angle of nutrition and in terms of gut health. So our bodies are primarily made up of bacteria. A lot of people, I remember when we did this in science, when we did this in high school, it was like, our bodies are made up of cells. But what now new science is showing us, our bodies primarily made up of bacteria. Now, and the gut, which is your digestive tract, that is what houses our bacteria. Now, in that bacteria in our gut, that is where most of those bacteria grow. Now, in our gut, we have 2 types of bacteria, just to make it super simple. So we have good bacteria and bad bacteria. Whatever your body feeds is what's going to grow. So if you're feeding your body a lot of sugar, you're going to have a lot of more of the bad bacteria growing. And so when it comes to craving, Dr. Ngiga is absolutely right, because those cravings Sometimes, yes, the addiction happens because there's actually that, even in the brain, the studies do show that you get as addicted as cocaine. The part of the brain that gets excited is the exact part of the brain that gets lit up under an MRI machine, under a CAT scan machine, whichever machine they put you under. When you go under that machine, the same part of the brain that gets excited is the same part of the brain that gets excited when somebody, or wakes up when someone takes drugs. So there's definitely a direct correlation in terms of how our body responds. When it comes to the gut, if you feed your body processed foods, and this is not even to answer your question, Sam, about the cravings and the fat, belly fat, the more of those processed foods that you eat, you're feeding more of that bacteria. And the more you're feeding that bacteria, it's going to ask for more of that food. And so that craving is not that you're like, I'm trying. So you've got to be able to balance it from the inside. You have to be able to balance, and also not just balance that, but even balance your gut, but also balance those hormones. Because when we are eating in one extreme, where we're not eating in a balanced way, there comes a sense where even your hormones just get thrown off. So it's a process where you sort of have to understand, what are the things that throw me off? What foods throw me off? And it's important, especially someone who's diabetic, to eat those low glycemic foods. That is important. So you're eating your nuts, you're eating your seeds, you're eating your vegetables, you're eating the brown rice, the brown stuff, rather than the white stuff. So that's super important.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much.
Very good points. Towards the end, we'll entertain, or we'll take more questions. At this point, I'll ask Faith. Faith, are you there? Just jump in, 5 to 10 minutes, quick presentation.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. I would like to start by thanking you, Sam, for having me. Thank you, Dr. Giga, and thank you, Anne, for your wonderful information. We are so informed. I actually want to echo what all of you have said. It is always a good thing to learn new things. I just learned that whole milk is not as bad as I thought. I was almost saying no milk for me. So that's new for me. But I'll side chat with you, Anne, because I have some debate about that. And so that I can get more informed. I will definitely look for you. Thank you so much. And now about me. I am very delighted to say that all you talked about, you did my work. That's all I do every day. Every day I teach people about staying healthy so that we can be able to protect them when it comes to life insurance. Because those are the main things that we look for when we talk about insurance. The first question we ask people is, do you have lifestyle diseases? And most of the lifestyle diseases is basically diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and the like. And if you guys keep doing what you're doing and most of the people don't have those, then you've made my work so easy. I'll just be asking and the answers will be no, 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 no. So basically what I do is I teach people about life insurance, and I also advise on college plans, educational funds for the young ones who have kids who are going to college soon. I do teach about long-term care insurance. Long-term care, of course, if diabetes is going to progress and you don't take care of yourself, you're going to end up in a nursing home. And it's unfortunate that I'm saying that, but those who are in healthcare, I've seen people who have compromised due to those lifestyle diseases that have progressed, and they end up in a nursing home, or they end up being taken care of at home. And that's where I come in and say, if you don't have the long-term care insurance, then you need to see me so we can talk about that. Then also there's mortgage protection. Those who have their homes and they don't have mortgage protection, I set up those mortgage protections. But the main thing today I'll be talking about is life insurance purely. Life insurance is a wide topic. And when you talk about life insurance, some people may be like, life insurance is just money paid to your beneficiaries after you die. And that's not true. It is true, but that's not all about life insurance. Life insurance is actually categorized in 4 parts. The first type of life insurance is called accidental life insurance. And how that works is a policy that you buy and covers you in case you're in a car accident. And that covers you up to age 70 and pays only if you were in a car accident and died from the day of the accident up to 90 days. If you die after 90 days, it doesn't cover, okay? Then the next type of life insurance actually is called the term life. Term is T-E-R-M, means a period of time. This comes in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and a max of 30 years. And then from there, it can be annual renewable. All those period of times that you're covered, 10 years, the premium stays locked at that point. But as soon as the 10 years are over, that premium resets up to your age. If you are covered at age 30 and now you're 40, that premium will be set for age 40-year-old person. The premiums keeps going high and the premiums keep changing when you turn age 60. If you had a 30 to 30 more years, then at that point, the premiums will now be annual renewable. They'll change every year. Every year they change. Some people talk about some money back when you have a term life insurance policy. That is called return of premium. All that means is simply you are paying for your term life insurance policy plus some extra money on top of that. It's calculated in a way that there's some extra money. When your term is over, you're given that little money back, but not the premiums money. What does a term life insurance policy cover? Some people and some companies only have death protection. That's all they have. You're covered and you're paid in case of death. But then some other companies also have a term life policy that has living benefits, meaning it covers you for chronic illness, critical illness, and critical injury. And then, of course, death protection. That's about term life policy. Then we do have the whole life policy, which covers you for the whole of your life, meaning up to age 100, or unfortunately, if you die before age 100, then it still covers you. That's a whole life policy. You pay your premiums all through. If you stop or miss your premiums, then that policy is going to expire. Then last and not the least, we do have the IUL policy, which has been actually a very good policy in our community because most people worry about things that Dr. Gige and Anne were talking about: chronic illness, critical illnesses, critical injuries. Those things, if you had a policy ahead of time, the IUL policy, which has living benefits, for example, now you've progressed, you have diabetes and it has become so bad and you even have gotten to a stage where you got amputations or your A1C becomes so uncontrollable, you've been put on insulin, and now you have neuropathy. All those things Dr. Gige talked about have progressed, and at that point now you cannot be able to do even some of your ADLs. At that point, if you had that kind of a policy, it covers you, and you could utilize that policy to now have home health aid people take care of you or such conditions. Some of lifestyle diseases that they were talking about, high cholesterol, high blood pressure can lead to a stroke. For example, if you had a stroke, most of you cannot be able to do some of your ADLs, daily activity of your living. So you at that point, you could utilize that policy to be able to pay for your mortgage, to be able to pay for your bills. If you had kids in college, we know most of us, I've seen a patient who are in healthcare, I've seen a patient who has a stroke. They'll definitely need someone to shower them, bathe them, cook for them, help them with toileting and stuff. And at that point, if you had a policy like this, it becomes very, very essential at that point to be used to replace your income because you're not working. And if you have a policy from your employer, that policy is only good if you're working there. After you leave that place, that policy does not help you at all. Now, what did I talk about in summary? I talked about three things. I talked about what happens if you die. That's what I said in another one. What happens if you die today? You take care of your children, you take care of your family. You have so many people that you take care of. What would happen if I die? What will happen to my family? What will happen if you die? What will happen to your family? That's why you should think about having life insurance, because definitely, one day all of us will die, but what happens if you died now prematurely? What happens to your family? The second thing I talked about is what happens if you don't die and you live a good life? Now you have turned age 65 or above and you've retired. Are you ready for retirement? That's why I help people set up retirement plans. Retirement plans are in form of insurance policy. Yes, you do have those policies that can be utilized for retirement, okay? And then also, I also talk about what happens if you got sick. Most of us are very healthy now. You following what Dr. Giga said, you follow what Anna said, you stay healthy. But then unfortunately, what happens if you got sick? How do you replace your income if you got sick? Yes, we do have some policies that you can set up and can replace your income in case you got sick and you cannot be able to work. That's really what I had for you guys. Unless if you have any questions, I will be more than happy to answer any questions. But I can be reached on my number, which I can ask Sam to pin there. It's 201-920-7621. 201-920-7621. I can be reached on that number. I can also be reached on my email, which I will send on the chat. And if you have any questions now, I can answer them. We do check for those things that they talked about. It doesn't mean you can't be covered if you have blood pressure or if you have diabetes. You can, but you're gonna be rated. In summary, your health is your credit when it comes to life insurance or when it comes to living. So live, as you say, most people they say, I don't wanna mess up my credit. I don't wanna mess up my credit. And we really are careful. Most of us have good credits because that's what we learned. So today I'm gonna challenge you to know that your health is your credit. So that's my summary. Your health is your credit. Thank you very much for having me.
Wonderful presentation, Faith. Maina, one thing I got from you was life insurance doesn't just cover death. It
Yes.
also covers living benefits.
Yes.
It includes when you're sick or when we get there. And that's very helpful. Actually, if you notice, most of the fundraisers we do around in our communities, around, someone has been hospitalized, maybe a cancer patient, or someone has lost their job, we need to pay for their mortgage or rent for 2-3 months, then we come back. But if they have a monthly payment out to a life insurance agency, like the ones, I believe you work with different agencies, right?
Yes, I represent a couple of companies, yes.
Yes, so I think feel free to post your phone number down below there and your email, and guys could get it from there. And then wonderful presentation. I think our communities are moving away from the fundraisers. I'm not saying fundraisers are bad, but our communities are moving away from fundraisers to, if you can be able to go to your employer and ask your employer, do you guys offer life insurance? Talk to Faith and other people who offer life insurance, agents who offer life insurance. That can take away part of the burden that the community usually has when someone passes away or someone is sick. I think it's a trend we need to pick up from our hosts here in America or wherever we are. Let's do what the Romans do. They don't have fundraisers, nothing against fundraisers, but they take care of themselves and their children's children. Another thing I got from you is when you have life insurance, some life insurance covers the home. Assuming the person dies, it covers the home. Actually, it pays off the home, and sometimes college funds for the kids. And you don't want to leave your kids with a huge mortgage or with huge bills, or you don't know how they end up going to school. So life insurance is a very key, and we'll continue talking about it. Before I open further questions, I actually have one question. I wanted to ask a question that just came in through my phone. Dr. Ngigi or Roseanne, what would you recommend for skin dryness for a diabetic patient? Dr. Ngigi or Roseanne, I almost called Dr. Roseanne, maybe it's gonna happen. What would they recommend for skin dryness for a diabetic patient?
before I answer that question, I want to emphasize on what Faith, just told us. I have a phone right here, and this phone, I put $15 on it, that in case that phone fell into water or it fell and break the screen, I can have something. The same thing that I keep asking myself is, I'm working so hard, why can't I have life insurance? This is something I ask people all the time. You have car insurance, you have this insurance, you have that insurance, yet you don't have life insurance. And I think the missing part is, which Faith, maybe I can request you now that the churches are open, we are having so many functions. If you can get at least 10, 15 minutes like you did and explain to our people the importance of life insurance. And I correlate that with, if somebody is sick of diabetes and you tell this person, oh, take metformin, most patients, they don't take the medication. Yes, I know I need life insurance in case I die, but you're just telling me buy life insurance. You're telling me just to take a pill for diabetes, so what? But if you educate me, if you tell me that if you don't control your diabetes, you're gonna end up with kidney problem. If you don't control your diabetic, you're gonna have amputation. If you don't control your diabetic, you may end up being bright. Then that education will make me take that pill consistently. So if you explain to me that if I have life insurance, not only for that, but the life insurance, let's say, for example, it will help me with the mortgage and all that. And I think our people are missing that part of the education. We all know that there is life insurance, but we are missing that part of the important information that you just gave us. I wish you can spread that to the community. Coming back to the question that was asked about what do you apply on a dry skin because of when you have diabetes? The most important thing is, I'd say, it was the reason why your skin is dry when you have diabetic is because you are peeing a lot. So the most important thing is, the first thing is be dehydrated. Take water, 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 water. Over 90% or 95% of your body is water. So drink water, water, water. Avoid these sodas that has a lot of sugar in it. Otherwise, there are very good lotions out there that you can buy to keep your skin hydrated, or even some petroleum jellies are very also good to keep your skin hydrated, like Aquaphor, which is not a lotion, but it will keep your skin hydrated. But before you buy those products, hydrate your skin, hydrate yourself.
Roseanne, any comments?
Yeah, so I'm not a skin specialist. That's not an area of expertise. So I really wouldn't know much about the skin. Sorry.
Yeah, that's an honest answer. Yeah. At this moment, I'll ask West Songa or Harrison Minor, both of my friends, just say one or two things, briefly, 1 or 2 minutes, if you're still there, and then I'll open for more questions, then we'll close in the next 10 minutes. Harrison, are you there? He's a recent graduate of Masters of Science. Harrison, you'll finish the rest.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm glad to see all of you here. Sorry, I was a little late because I have a function tomorrow, so I've been running up and down trying to prepare for that. But when I got the message from Sam about the health awareness meeting, I say that I'll commit some few minutes to join in hata kama ni yuko towards the end, just so that I can hear what people are saying and I can also support this kind of initiative. Because I believe it's very important for us to have a conversation in our community regarding health and awareness of ourselves. I like a lot of what you guys have talked about. I know I came a little late, but what I gathered here is also very precious. I know Roseanne and Dr. Gigi, they are very committed with the health of people. And I've heard a lot of people that Roseanne has helped lose weight. And even when you don't know, people still talk about good things about that. How many pounds you help them lose. And they also said, I was not even aware that you used to be very big before. But somebody told me, do you see Roseanne? Do you see how she is? She used to be big, so she's a role model to me. I know I can lose it. So it's important, and us having good health, like what Faith just said, that your health is actually very important to you. Did you say it's insurance or it's your credit? So my health is my credit, like credit history. So it's important for us to have good health in all ways possible. So I don't have much to say, but like Sam was saying, I just joined the healthcare industry recently in terms of behavior analysis. So I'm mostly dealing with autism, treatment of autism in children and adults and young adults. So I'm very conscious about having a good healthcare system and a good awareness, because even in our community, we are not aware about things that affect our kids. So thank you guys. Let's continue this. I'll keep joining. And Samrack, thank you for organizing. I can hear.
Harrison has a graduation party tomorrow. Call him before get crashing.
No, you're welcome. Just come in if you want to. It's in Melrose at the VFW Hall. It's on 486 Main Street in Melrose, VFW, from 6 p.m. to about 11. So you're all welcome. Come and have some goat meat.
Thank you. Another thing we need to change as a community is we are receiving a lot of reports of houses burning. And at the end of the day, Red Cross comes, it gives you a night in a hotel for 3 days. But after that, you don't know what next. You call me or Harrison, or we need a fundraiser. You see a lot of WhatsApp group. There's something I believe Faith offers. Either is it renters insurance or mortgage insurance?
I mean, that can be done so easily. Even at the State Farm, they're very good. You could walk in and buy, or you could call Geico, whichever company, if you're renting a house, and just it's a few dollars, maybe $15 to cover your home and all your property. So yes, it can be done so easily. We can avoid those fundraisers 100%.
Wonderful. Any other questions from the panelists? Any other questions?
If I may, I just wanted to share a little bit of my info and a little bit of, I wanted to share, so a little bit of my info. So I mostly hang out a lot on Instagram, Coach Roseanne. So I is that possible for me to share my, let's see.
Let me make you a host. Is that okay?
Please? Yeah, please. Yeah, okay. Thank you. So I want to show you where I hang out a lot. Let's go here. Let me expand my screen. Share screen. So this is where I hang out a lot. So I'm mostly on Instagram. And for those of you, because a lot of people, like Harrison has said, a lot of people are like, I never knew you were big or whatever. So that is me. That is how, yeah, I used to be a big girl at some point. And I hated pictures. So this is really me having worked. And this is actually last month, because I only have 2 pictures that have been on Instagram in perpetuity. Like those are the only, everyone's like, Roseanne, are those the only pictures you have? Yeah, I've only had 2 pictures, but this is like, I want to show you all the people that I have worked with and I continue to work with and the results that these women get. I'm also going to show you, if you could just give me 2 seconds, I'm going to take you to this other page. I just want to show you the power of just learning how to eat healthy and how to lose weight and keep it off sustainably. So let me share my screen again. So this is our page. So if you want to learn anything about us, so just come to, I'll put the link here on the website, on the chat box, but these are all the classes that we offer. And the most popular one is our Hey Sugar Detox program, which is a 6-week program. This is the one where I'm actually opening up classes for this class next week. So if you would be interested in coming to learn, I just want to show you some of the results. I'll attach it here, then you can take time and basically go through it. But these are the results that you're going to get. Yeah, women who've tried to lose weight. This is a lady who I've been working with, and this is all the weight that she's been able to lose. All these are women that I have worked with and I continue to work with. And Sam, you are asking about the belly, and you can see the changes that are going on in these women's bodies and their bellies and losing all this fat. And this, by the way, what you're seeing right here, this is within 6 weeks. So it's possible. And I promise you, they're not dieting. They're not restricting themselves. They're not eating. So these women are actually eating whole foods. These women are learning to eat in balance. These women are also having some cake, some wine, etc. And these are women who are driven, who are looking to just become healthier so that they can do what it is that they need to do. So this is to show you, and this is to tell you, what I've shared with you works. I worked with Dominic and I worked with so many women in the lower area over 10 years ago. And I can tell you these results work and they stick long. And as long as you continue to apply the principles, this is not a diet, it's going to work, and you're going to notice your numbers also becoming better. So I wanted to share this with you so that you can see what it is that we do, the women that we work with. You can see the results that they get, because these are real women who are getting real results. And I want to thank you, Sam, so much for having me here and for allowing me to come and share this very important topic. Thank you so much. I'm super honored to be here.
I appreciate it. We'll continue with the conversation on the Samrack Healthcare Group. For any questions, feel free to chat with me. As a way to end, I just wanted to appreciate you guys. We thank you. And then we appreciate you guys, all the healthcare workers. And then you're special. I know some of you are wondering why I'm saying this. We all don't know what people are going through. Some people have lost their loved ones during the pandemic. So when we say these little nice things, it makes them special. And we also trust you as healthcare professional. Like now, Dr. Ngege, Roseanne, Faith Mena, like the stuff you're telling us, of course, we know you're just restating it. And last but not least, you're all incredible. So enjoy your weekend, and just remember we value you, and you guys did an awesome job during the COVID-19 pandemic. It's not yet over, so if you haven't received the shot, Roseanne, have you? Well, let me not get there. Oh, appreciate it. Thank you. If you haven't received the shot, feel free to call Dr. Ngege. He'll guide you where to get one. Otherwise, thank you for choosing to spend your time with us this evening. God bless you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank
Okay,
you.
bye.
Congratulations, Mr. Maina.
Bye, and thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you, Sam.